What's up, fight fans? This is Kurt DeVille with Counterpunch Boxing News, and I got some new news concerning Anthony Joshua. You know, I will be, as much as I like to talk and commentate, it's aggravating to talk about the same thing over and over again. You know what I'm saying? It's like it gets redundant. People hear it. People have heard it, and it seems like to me that everything that Anthony Joshua says either gets dissected, taken out of context, criticized, but then Deontay Wilder can do whatever he wants, I guess. But that's a good sign because, a lot of times where if you keep talking about a particular fighter, especially a fighter that you dislike, you bring more to him to the spotlight. Look at Deontay Wilder. Nobody really talked about Deontay Wilder a lot before the negotiations with Anthony Joshua. The only time you heard about Deontay Wilder was his constant criticism for not fighting good opposition, top 10 opposition. Someone that's credible to his record, to his record and resume. That's all you really heard. You know what I mean? The cherry pickers of the PBC. You know what I mean? That's the discussion that was on the norm for Deontay Wilder. Now, Deontay Wilder makes headlines, So, I got to give it to Deontay. What his promotional company didn't do, he was able to do. I don't really know if they were 100% behind it because I don't think they could have done such a good job with him purposely. You know what I mean? By keeping him in the spotlight, by himself, putting himself into the spotlight. Eddie Hearn said something that was pretty interesting. He said that the guy can talk. He self-promotes himself. His Twitter, his Instagram. Look how many followers that he's had in a short amount of time. Within a year's time, he's had more than he's ever had. But he can't do it himself. He's promoted poorly. See, they didn't believe in their product. They didn't believe in their boy. That's why they babied him that long as they did with Deontay Wilder. But back to Joshua. Joshua's always been in the spotlight because he is meant to be there because they've done the proper things it took for him to get there and stay there. You know what I mean? Everyone is expecting a fight between or wanting to see Anthony Joshua fight Deontay Wilder. Well, Deontay has other business with Fury. So we all know that, he's trying to get a fight with him again. And, that looks like it's good. And the WBC is ordering it. And we all know that. Okay. But one thing about it, Anthony Joshua will say something that, I think Fury won. Then you have all these people are saying, oh, he said that it was no, he didn't say that. You went from a draw to a win now. I'm like, dude, chill. Because first of all, he said the same thing that he said before. It was in the same ballpark. He was like, well, yeah, I called it a draw, but then I'm like, okay, but you have to come over and beat the champion. You know what I mean? So he wasn't really too concerned about that fight anyway, if you guys can remember that. He said, man, now I'm going to go to sleep on y'all. I ain't worried about that. It's 4 or 5 in the morning where I'm at. I'm not going to worry about who wins that fight. Whoever wins is going to come see me anyway, So, and then I just thought that was, let me tell you guys about Joshua. Joshua is like a quiet, clever smartass. That's what he is. A lot of times if you hear him say a lot of things, it comes off sincere, but then if you really think about it with your sarcastic imagination, you'd be like, that motherfucker was throwing shade, but he was saying it like if a realistic or if an intelligent person knew they had been insulted. A lot of times, a person doesn't know when they're being insulted because they're not smart enough to know when they are. See, you don't have to use like derogatory words, you know what I'm saying? And when you're insulting someone, you can just really say something and I guess if they pick it up, they will, they won't. But it's like an inside joke to yourself or whoever would listen. You know what I mean? With AJ, you know, like, he was like, oh, yeah, okay. He said, well, yeah, they just thought he was, they just thought he would come in a bit cold. You know what I mean? A bit cold. You know, he was really damn cold. You know what I mean? Damn near 3 years, right? You know, he was really cold. You know, but the way he threw that, I think he's a bit cold when he came in. That's why they wanted to take that fight. In other words, he was calling you a damn cherry picker on the cool. You see what I'm saying? That's an example of what Joshua does. You know, he will say, yeah, they knew they took that fight. And the only reason they took that fight was because they figured this was going to be an easy fight. I believe that. Everyone was saying that because no one knew what kind of condition that Tyson Fury was in. Everyone knew that. They took that fight. Now you have these dickheads over here. So, oh, well, he said draw it first. He did. He said, but he also said, yeah, they picked that fight because they thought that would be an easy fight. You know what I mean? So you took one thing from what a person said and just turned it all around like this guy was he's totally contradicting. And I don't know what the hell Boxing Ego. I think Boxing Ego, I think Anthony Joshua must have came over here and slammed his girlfriend or something and then flew back. You know what I mean? Because I don't see why he has a problem. You know, because he did say he lived in England, right? So something must have happened. He must have did something to him personally for him to be on a vendetta against Joshua the way he does. Because Deontay Wilder is like no dude, you know, that's your only tool. So you're backing that guy with no skill, that guy that don't even believe in skill. You know what I'm saying? Got all them damn fights and ain't fought no one, and that's who you're protecting? Something must be awry. Somebody must, you know, that guy must have pissed you off, Boxing Ego. I guess. It has to be. You know what I'm saying? It has to be, you know? Something, yeah, it's some personal shit going on there. You know, because I'm like, okay, well, man, the man said what he said. You know, you drop a live feed on it. I'm like, look at this dude, you know? And what's bad about it, you got a lot of people on that channel's really brainwashed, you know, and he's trying to give variables like Bill Cosby or some shit, you know, on why this fight's happening and this, you know, come on, man, you know. And honestly, I'll be glad when the fight gets made or whoever wins, you know. And honestly, now I look at it, Deontay Wilder, and I always felt this way. I always felt that Deontay Wilder asked for too much money. Now I'm not sure about Dillian White asking for too much money or even Joseph Parker, because those fights like that, you know, different strokes for different folks. You had different situations and different stipulations. But I think Deontay Wilder, they priced itself out. I think they didn't want to fight Joshua. I don't think they ever really wanted to fight him. Honestly, now looking at everything, you know, because they had the biggest opportunity right now to make that fight. The only thing they can talk about is what used to be, like some badass relationship that went cold or went bad back in the day. You know what I mean? But the truth of the matter is the relationship never happened. You know what I mean? Because nobody danced in the ring. No one fought. So for you to talk about how negotiations went, like, what the hell are you talking about? You know what I mean? Do you really want to see the fight? Or because you're worried about negotiations, right? So if you're worried about, oh, well, the negotiations went this way and I was so hurt and I couldn't possibly put myself in that situation again. You know, I'm like, dude, shut up, man. You going to fight or you going to fight? No, he didn't want to fight. You know what I mean? And he wants to redeem himself for Tyson Fury, which that makes sense. I'm not knocking Deontay for that because Deontay does have a lot to prove. I feel that he got beat. I always felt he got beat. You know what I mean? So, yeah, I think that it wasn't a draw. You know what I'm saying? I don't think it was a draw. I think Anthony Joshua was trying to be too damn nice, honestly. You know what I mean? And because that was over at that point, that it was a draw, that was the decision, okay? Okay, now we can focus on the real fight, Wilder and Joshua. But guess what? According to Deontay Wilder, we can see through actions, that fight wasn't even on the table for them. They didn't even consider that fight. They ain't considered that fight in a long time. That's why the contract never came back, people. Because that guy, Deontay Wilder, did not ever plan to fight Joshua. He just wanted to pretend that he was. You know, and again, I don't know if it was a PR stunt from his camp or his promotional team. And if it was brilliant. Bravo. Because that's how you do it, you know. I mean, you get these big negotiations, you get all these talks together like you want to fight, and then you talk all this shit. He's scared, he's a coward, he's a coward. Then you go from saying that he's scared, he's a coward, he didn't want to fight, to, oh, I was so hurt, and oh no, you don't know how a person did you after that and promised you something and you didn't get it. You know what I'm saying? Like, how you go from he's being so scared to I'm so hurt. You know what I mean? That is retarded. It is retarded. I don't get it. But one thing's for sure is Joshua, anything that he says will be gone over with a fine tooth comb. You know what I mean? Forensics is over it, you know. You know what I mean? The sticklers, the IRS are coming, you know? So, but that's good though. That's good that Joshua's name, his statements are still, are bringing attention to the boxing scene. It ain't like freaking Keith Thurman. He can preach a whole sermon and no one gives a shit because he's not fighting anyone. Oh, by the way, he fights tonight. If people would, you know, if people gives a shit. I mean, he fighting, you know, Josecito Lopez, right? And he picked the easiest guy. And then, you know, irony of boxing though. I hope Lopez knocks his ass out, honestly. Because, you know, he been ducking and dodging and zipping and dipping for a long time, right? And constantly talking, you know? So that's the PBC for you, you know? But anyway, you guys tell me what you think about this video. Of course, please subscribe. And you guys been Counterpunched. Peace.